Kingston Technical.
Right.
A fair amount of the
technical
teachers in
area.
Kingston Technical went up to Cork. People like Calvin McCain, of whom that
the library.
Library's name, you know, he would have been taught me in high school.
So you studied at Kingston Technical and at CAS in the early years?
Yes, indeed.
So let me ask you, you know, with things sort of working out, quote unquote, to the extent that it did, what encouragement or advice would you offer to any young Christian man, like thinking about a future in terms of jobs and opportunities? Like any advice you'd have just based on your own experience?
My experience is to be the best that you can be. In fact, one thing I developed was to get the work of my supervisor as easy as is possible. Where I can do the work that my supervisor was doing, you know, unlike some person said, well, the supervisor must, no. I took on the work of my supervisor. And in doing that, I learned not only a considerable amount, but as far as I'm concerned, he depended on me.
So you built a reputation?
Built a reputation, yes, by taking that. So that is my advice, you know, don't look around who is not doing what. Make sure you have an understanding of exactly what caused the place to think, right? And make yourself a reliable worker. If you're not there one day, you ought to be missed.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, sometimes people fail to show up and nobody even realizes that they're not there because their impact on the job site is such, it's so minimal.
Yes, indeed, very much so. Fortunately, the telephone company was a multidisciplinary company.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can, anything.
You could thrive in different areas.
There is the technical, there is the clerical, there is the
administrative,
there is training, there is the motor transport. Right. I tell you, it's a multidisciplinary, yes. You know, if you want to do accounting, it's amazing. Multidisciplinary company.
So I'm going to kind of change gears. How long were you in the church before you started to think about ministry?
As I said, got in the church in Valley. If I can remember my date, it was the 6th of June, 1956. In fact, I was baptized at Constant Spring because the Penwood Church was just in the building state. They didn't even have a baptistry, so I had to be taken to Constant Spring one Wednesday night, and you know, there I was baptized. And together with the development of the church came also my personal development in corporate life. Now, many years while I was young in camp, I took the decision, I mean the call was made for person to consider leadership. My desire was to be an elder. That was my desire. And I've often said to the people, you know, that it took me 40 years to develop that. It was after I was in ministry for many, many years.
Before you became an
elder. You know, and therefore I had a grand opportunity of observation of the church. You know, some of the people who came, like the Americans and the Jamaicans, I was able to. But my philosophy in life, that wherever I am, I'm not just going to be a number, right? I am going to give it
100.
My best shot, 100%, nothing less for me.
So, do you recall that moment when you decided that you wanted to go into the ministry to become a pastor?
Yes, it is, I don't know what you say, accident, fortuitous, whatever. It is just that the missionary that was in Jamaica, the man named Grayson Ensign, right? He left, and the person that took over from is another minister named Harvey Bacchus, another American. Now, when he left, first of all, he left on what they call this furlough. And there was no serious arrangement made as to who would replace him while he was on furlough.
And he was ministering to the Penwood Church?
To the Penwood Church, yes. And so there are a group of 4 of us, I can remember, took on the responsibility in a very amateur way to start to preach. There was a fellow named Harris who I had brought to the church. Can't remember the other 2 now. There were Delroy Brown, myself, trying to remember who the other person was. And in this inauspicious way, we started to preach. And I suppose, as I said, the background in debating and the work at school and the cross-fertilization that personally we made, people thought that we did a reasonable job at preaching. Then I begin to note that there were some serious, you might call it structural problem with the church. In fact, while I was there, I was asked to be part of what is called the Jamaica Christian Trust. Now, it is a company that was formed in which the church properties should be placed. Now, among the church property was placed, the 2 that were placed were Constant Spring and Mandeville. Even Penwood, it was only years when I went back to work, they only had an agreement for sale. And all the other leaders, for some reason, they would not commit their property, although they were trust members. They wouldn't commit their property at all. And I said, that is, how can you be a part of something and you don't have the courage or the confidence?
So they're not leading by example.
Yeah, leading by example. Right. And so that sort of bothered me, considerably. And of course, the Americans begin to return to America one after the other. And but your question is the whole question of, as I tell you, how the ministry started.
Right.
When Bacchus was at Penwood for some time, Vincent Graham, on our encouragement, had gone off to Ozark. But I noticed that the deficiencies we have was that the missionary would come on a Sunday and on a Wednesday. Very little else happened.
Right. So they weren't like pastors. They were like almost satellite.
They were not a teaching program. And above all, they were not even an idea that persons were encouraged to be good stewards. This person was coming, you didn't know he got paid, he preached. When you really can't say anything because, you're not paying for his keep.
Right, you don't have a structure in place to accommodate him.
So I brought the idea forward. Why don't we invite Vincent Graham to return? And so at my own expense, I traveled up to Ozark for his graduation. And a letter which I virtually penned. And I said, Vin, why don't you consider coming back to Jamaica? He took up the offer. And so what had actually happened, while an amazing thing at the end, we had Winston Graham returning, as they call him, missionary. There was Harvey Bacchus and his wife, and there was also Victoria Hines. Her husband by then had left the church in Jamaica and had gone away. So we had really 3 missionary families there. In the process of time, of course, Bacchus went away. Vicky Hines became very, very ill and had to be taken to the United States. Of course, she never returned. She died.
Mm-hmm.
Then Vincent Graham thought I had to become, that time, the associate pastor. Okay? And that was in the year, I can't remember it so clearly, 28th of February, 1970, if you look at it. Okay. And Delroy Brown, by that time, had also left for San Jose Bible College, and then he left from San Jose, he went to Australia. And so we were there. In about Delroy Brown decided he wanted to return to Jamaica from Australia. And we encouraged him to say, look, there's a work at Portmore. One of our members lived in Portmore, an aged person, I guess somewhere between 60 and 70, and was finding it difficult to commute.
Right.
And so she asked whether we would consider starting a Sunday school on the carport, which was done. Now, Penwood, of course, Portmore, of course, independent city to be, in fact, was one of the new and exciting,
right, and fast-growing cities.
Growing. So, Brother Roy came with his wife, she's an Australian, and they were there, 72. In about 73, he said he had spoken to his wife and they decided that he wanted to return to Australia. So he asked, couldn't I consider sharing myself between Penwood?
So you were the assistant pastor at Penwood
at the time? Yeah, the
associate
pastor at Penwood. So he said, in fact, he was there, I was living in the same community here. Would you consider? And he said, listen, what I will do, I will ask Brother Raphael Walker, Senior, to do the same thing. He was out in Utah, if he wouldn't share. And so we accepted that. I went back to Australia. But a strange thing happened, Brother Jim. The first